teas. Use this if you want to smell like that tea.
You never had to question if you were a man, so why give your money to a corporation that doesn't know if their products are made for men? Try Jeremy Razor's hair and body products. Jeremy shampoo and conditioner are made with tea tree oil to naturally clean and restore your hair and scalp, argan oil to soften your hair and not your masculinity, and aloe vera to moisturize the hair and scalp. It's all paraben-free, sulfate-free, phthalate-free, and most importantly, 100% woke-free. Not to mention, it smells amazing. Go to jeremyrazors.com and use my special code BURNS15 to save 15% off. That's jeremyrazors.com. Use my special code BURNS15 to save 15% off.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's video, we are going to view or have a live reaction to last night Dalton Village board meeting. It was an explosive meeting. Actually, Trustee House, never seen him. He was in rare form. They made him step out his square. So we'll have a couple of highlights of what he said to Tiffany and her henchmen. And I'm glad he said it. And then we will also be talking about the border crisis and Donald Trump. Okay. So that's all on today on another episode of Business Talks.
Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bap. What? This is what you call a bap. Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bap. What? This is what you call a bap.
You guys put in the chat. Let me know where you're viewing from. Put in the chat. Let me know where you're viewing from. I gotta fix my screen. Apparently, I'm out of frame. Anyway, so last night was an epic night. Of course, Tiffany is always in rare form. Well, I mean, what more can you say about her? When she gets her feathers ruffled, she starts to insult people. Really childlike mannerisms that she displays. Okay. So we'll be talking about that. Let me see who's in the chat. We have MB Burke. Thank you for tuning in. I will be at work. I'm thanking you in advance for making my day go faster. Well, thank you for tuning in. We have the Lexi She. I'm pretty sure I'm killing that name. Did anyone see the meeting last night? I couldn't find it anywhere. I wasn't on the trustees page that I could see. I actually have the video up, so we'll be viewing that. Thank you for tuning in. Mike, Biden just delivered an epic speech on the border issues. No wonder the Republicans can't win elections any longer. Was he coherent? Mike, was Biden coherent? I'll check to see if I can find it. Maybe we'll view it today. Speaker Phase 13. I was thinking the same thing. Thought there was a meeting scheduled for Monday. No sign of it yet. It was posted. They went live yesterday. DJ Henard, the DJ. Chawanne was good. I see you going in on the side piece mayor. Yes, I am. I have several videos about her. That was from me on my other channel. Sherry, I have a lot to say. I will be driving, but as soon as I get to my destination, I am hopping on this live. Sherry, thank you for tuning in. And we have Dickie Mint in the building, Albert Aram in the building, Cortez Miller from Nashville. Cortez Miller. The Lexi is from Rhode Island. And of course, Henard, DJ, we know you're tuning in from Chicago. Unfortunately, viewing from Chicago. Hey, Chicago's not that bad. It's not that bad. So we got, who else we got here on here? David Westernburbs of Chicago. And we also have X-Table from Scandinavia. We have June Wilson from New York. If Bukula, If Bukala, the prison, New York City. Okay. Juan Garcia, El Paso, Texas. Calandria Grin, Detroit, Michigan. What up, though? And much, much more. Hanging Z, Hanging AZ. Tiff is a low functioning dipstick. Hanging AZ, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate that comment. Tiffany is a strange bird. And we have Twitch streamers on here or viewers. Hello, I'm from Korean. Nice to meet you. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, so let's get to the board meeting. You guys, it's very interesting to see, adults act in this manner. I know Tiffany, before the meeting, prior to the meeting, Tiffany came in, told her staff, and maybe it was last week sometime, maybe it was Monday or maybe it was Friday. She probably told them, if you MFers don't say anything, your A is going to be on the chopping block. Because the way, and you see I got it queued up on the police chief, the way that they were speaking as if the township is running in perfect condition. And then for some reason, the people that's, Tiffany's henchmen, they don't understand the trustees' jobs, what their elected position is for, what their job is actually, or their elected position is actually supposed to do. They kept on saying throughout the night, do your job, do your job, do your job. Hello, my main job is to manage the township or the village money. And literally, that's my only job, and to legislate. I need to make sure the township is in the guidelines of the legislation that we set forth. I need to make sure the township stays on budget. I need to make sure that we're not going into a contract and exposing the village to lawsuits. I need to make sure that FOIA requests are being answered. I need to make sure that we are operating in transparency. So the people, the taxpayer citizens, would know where their money is going to. Tiffany does not like transparency. She's on the guise of you guys remember last week I showed you that video. She said, we all black, we in Black history, right? I am the dream. I had a dream. I am the dream. No, Tiffany, you are a nightmare. You're a complete nightmare. So let's get started. And this is what's this guy name? I forget what his name is, but he's the chief of police. You guys put in chat if you know his name. He's the police chief, the current police chief that Tiffany replaced with the other guy that is currently suing her. The guy is currently suing Tiffany in the village of Dalton for wrongful firement, discrimination, because Tiffany didn't like the wife's, the former police chief wife associates, which is really ludicrous. I guess these people that she was friends with was political oppositions of hers, or just didn't agree with Tiffany. They didn't like Tiffany. So she thought, okay, your wife is keeping the wrong type of company. I need to fire them, which is totally ludicrous. So this is the police chief, the current police chief, and he was talking about Belcher, because Belcher, remember, before I get to it, I know I'm getting long-winded. Dalton just had a shootout at the AutoZone store. And Belcher was caught in the crossfire. She was actually in that area where she had to run away from her car so she wouldn't get hit by a stray bullet. And she the news
crime is down as far as violent crimes. That would include auto thefts and major crimes that occur in the village. I want to thank my police department because these guys work tirelessly. They do what they do because they love the residents of Dalton and they know that the responsibility they have is great. What I'd like to comment on, we had an incident that occurred at the AutoZone. I'm sure everybody in here knows what happened. Unfortunately, it was an incident that came into our town from somewhere else. They ended up in the AutoZone parking lot to where there were people that were injured. At this time, the matter is currently under investigation and there is no threat to the public. With that being said, too many times we get out there and we say what the police are not doing. The Dalton Police Department is an excellent police department. I'm a 28-year veteran of this police department. I am very proud of them. So anytime we get attacked, I take it personal. There were some things that were brought up in reference to a carjacking that occurred at the gas station, the Amico gas station, I believe it was, this weekend. The young lady said that she was carjacked. She was not carjacked. She left her keys in the vehicle, went inside the gas station. Somebody, crime of opportunity, guess what they did? They jumped in her car and took it. So it wasn't a carjacking like it was put out on Facebook or wherever else it was put out. It was basically an incident that could have been avoided, and it was not because of negligence on that person's part. I also would like to thank the Dalton Police Department because what they do because they love the job, they love the badge, and they love the people. Too many times they talk about what the police department's not doing, but let me say this. If you don't know the facts, don't get on TV and say something. And the reason why is because what you're doing is you're putting out false narratives. The people in town deserve to be safe. They deserve to feel safe. And it also puts my officers in jeopardy when the truth is not put out. Unfortunately, there were those that got on TV and said certain things were not true. I'm not going to go into them, but what I will say, in order for us to operate a police department, you can't cut $1 million out of the budget of the police department and expect to get the services that the village of Dalton and the residents deserve.
Okay, so you heard that. You heard that he said you can't expect to cut $1 million off the police department budget and to get to get the services that you think you deserve. The reason why the budget was cut, and actually didn't cut the budget. If you guys go back to the last board meeting, he in Trustee House amended the budget to prior budget. He didn't cut the budget. They wanted to increase the budget by $1 million because of Tiffany's detail. They're collecting over $900,000 or something odd dollars in overtime because Tiffany's private escorted vehicles, like she's the secret, she's been escorted by the Secret Service. She has 3 to 4 people, maybe even 5 people, police officers with her. So he's misinformed, and he's supposed to be the police chief. He knows where the money is coming from. Now, if you're allocating that extra money or manpower to Tiffany Henard, you need to push back on Tiffany Henard. Hey, do you feel like you're and I don't know what the square mile radius for Dalton, and is she taking these people around her to Chicago? Are they flying with her? I really would like to know that, because only reason why you feel threatened or would feel threatened, it's the village of Dalton is a small town. If they will, some people were making personal threats to you or your family. So why do you need a large security detail? I really don't understand that. And even if she does say, I need security detail out of town, why? Nobody knows you. Only reason why people know you now is because you're just doing a horrible job. And this guy, like I said, Tiffany came in Monday or Friday and said, if y'all niggas don't say something, all of y'all asses getting fired. I'm pretty sure she said that, because that's the type of person she is. If y'all niggas don't start saying something, excuse my, if y'all don't like the N-word, I'm just act like I'm Tiffany. If y'all niggas don't say a mother effing thing, y'all MFers gonna get fired. That's Tiffany. And I'm pretty sure she said that to all these folks is about to say something. So let's continue to listen to what he's saying. He's very misinformed, and he's the police chief. I know more about the budget than he does. And I don't even live in a village. I literally don't live in a village. So apparently his better judgment is being clouded. And I don't think he's really not thinking for himself. I think he's just trying to save his job.
They deserve better than what they've been getting. It's unfortunate that politics are being played, but what has happened is $1 million out of my budget has been cut because of politics. And what happens when you do that, you cut the services of the village, of the people. Do I sound upset? Yes, I am. Because you know what? For those that live in town, they expect those same services. But when you get up here and you play politics, what ends up happening is you don't get what you say you should get, but then you can make comments about it. Our police department is an outstanding police department. I had a chance to go to other police departments. I chose to stay in Dalton because I love Dalton and I love the community. But what I will say is, if you want us to function as a police department, don't cut our budget, because that same money that you're cutting is the same money we need to operate, from contracts to employees to equipment. And when you have equipment, not all equipment is new. You still have old equipment, and that needs to be maintained to keep the budget. So the only thing I'm saying to you is, when it comes down to it, and please forgive me if I sound upset, because I am. When I took this seat, when I was honored to take this seat and given this seat, I found out more things than I'd ever found out.
What did
I
you
don't
find
play
out?
Politics, not with the residents of Dalton, not with my police officers. So the money that was taken out of the budget, put it back. Don't say that you are for the police department and you're taking away from the police department. It doesn't work like that. Our lives are on there. We're the ones running to gunshots and the bullets when things happen. I'm proud of my police department, and I'm gonna continue to be proud of my police department. And the only thing I'm asking is you support my police department. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Mayor, may I be recognized?
Thank you. Well said. Go ahead.
You know, I'm standing with the deputy chief on that, because we need everything and more to make this village safe. Food for Less want to send a thank you to the Dalton Police Department, because
So, you know, this Andrew Holmes guy, he's talking about Food for Less. People was robbing Food for Less. They got robbed 10 times. Okay. You got robbed 10 times. Where was the police then? So they were successful 10 times. The 11th time, they wasn't successful. Anyway, I'm not trying to knock the police department, but this is what Andrew Holmes is saying. Really not a good speech. You shouldn't have used that example. Use the, if you want to tout up the police department, hey, they got caught the very same day. These individuals that robbed us. No, it took them to get robbed 10 times for them to finally catch up to the criminals. Anyway, so we're going to skip past Andrew Holmes' little speech because he's not talking about nothing.
The great working relationship between the fire department, Bud's ambulance, and the police department were able to safely get in there and save the lives for those who were in that traumatic incident. They're all transported to area hospitals. and again, no casualties. So again, great job by the staff out there today and the unified command with public safety out there. The hydrant replacement program that the mayor spoke about, as well as Ron Smith. I'm working diligently with Ron Smith and Stacy Carell to replace those hydrants with the funding that we get with the grant. So we're going to go through a prioritizing target hazards, as well as residential areas that may have multiple hydrant issues going on. Those target hazards include, but not limited to, the schools, businesses of that nature. So it's important to make sure that we have a proper and adequate water supply in the event that we do have an emergency.
Okay, Lacey doesn't really, get into, kissing Tiffany's butt or scolding the trustees. This board meeting was all about scolding the trustees, trying to let the residents know, hey, the trustees are not doing their job. They took $1 million out the budget. Hello, the trustees are doing their job because they said, hey, last year you operated at this budget. Now you want $1 million more. Like, what's the problem? And ding, 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 it's the security detail. The security detail that Tiffany Henard has requires that $1 million. So the trustees is being what? Responsible, fiscally responsible. We're not going to pay $1 million for Tiffany Henard to act like she's Joe Biden, because she's not. She's not the president of the United States. She's not Queen Elizabeth. She's not Charles. King Charles, that's over there in Europe or England. She's not him. So why in the world does she need a 24-hour round-the-clock 5-man people security detail? Somebody put it in chat. We got Dr. Nikita Cloud. Thank you for the super chat. Chief Lewis, I'm shaped like a penguin. Lacey. Chief Lewis, I'm shaped like a penguin. Lacey. Okay. Hilarious. So he's not going to say anything. He didn't get into mudslinging with the trustees, but I do want to point out this individual here, this young man, he's full of crap too. He's over the city, like the labor people. That's what his thing is. What's on top of his head, I don't know. This really disturbs me. But we're not going to talk about the man's head. We are just going to judge him not by the outside, but the content of his character, because it is Black history. It is Black history. So we're gonna listen to what he has to say.
For potholes filled, 120 stop signs replaced. 125, 30 vacant lots cut, 400 vacant properties cut, and 328 senior snow removed for the year. Also to add, as we talk about budgets and cuts, the Public Works Department was heavily affected by these cuts made by the Board of Trustees. Only thing we do in Public Works is render services. We're not a cash flow department. We usually spend money. This neighborhood is in dire need of repair. The infrastructure is in dire need of repair. The Public Works Department needs every dollar that they can get. I also took it personal when these cuts was made without asking the departments of what our needs are. This neighborhood is very demanding. My staff is here 24 hours a day sometimes just to keep the water on. If you're watching the news, there are other communities going through the same thing like Dixmoor. But thank God we have a staff here who can combat these water main repairs to make sure that the residents have water and other services when they wake up in the morning. But it is very disheartening for my staff to keep them going, knowing that we might not have the supplies to make these repairs. And we're out here 12 hours or more in this weather, away from our families and everything else. While people play politics with our jobs, we come here to do a job. We come here to do a service. We come here to keep service going. You have individuals spreading untrue things such as boil orders. Alerts went out about boil orders. The village of Dalton has never been under a boil order during this administration, at least. In order for something like that to happen, the pressure would have to drop to a certain point, which we've never done. Our system has been holding up. We've been keeping it going. But of course, none of this is without revenue. It takes money to keep this community going. Every day is a battle. There's cars flipping through poles. They're hitting fire hydrants, valves leaking, water mains breaking, tanks crumbling. The need is now. There is no room for cuts. What we need to do is go and find the money instead of trying to cut the money. We have to find the money to service this community. There's no other way to do it.
And you know, nothing against this guy, but you sound really unintelligent when you say find the money. Hey, we have levies, tax. This is literally how a township or a village makes their money. Tax levies, maybe tickets, you know, that's a small portion of it. And other things, you make tax levies off of properties, business taxes, stuff, things of that nature. But you usually have a set amount that's coming in, X amount of dollars coming in to the village, or the village. When you say go find the money, this is a city, a township, or a village is a business. But when you say find the money, what are we supposed to do? Find the money by penalizing the residents to increase, because they're going to get into the tax levy at the end, and Tiffany gets pissed off because her lawyer didn't, I guess, act like he was a dictator and rule in her favor. Anyway, you sound very unintelligent when you say find the money. No, we have a set budget, buddy. The money is what we have from the citizens that's paying taxes. This is X amount of dollars that we're coming into, and it doesn't usually substantially increase. It increases over time, but we don't normally get a substantial increase of our revenues because of taxes. Now, if you have an upsurge of people coming in buying properties, okay, your tax levies probably will increase. But until then, you don't have that. So finding the money, are you telling the village of Dalton, the trustees, hey, they need to apply for grants? That's not their job. Their job is to legislate and to actually budget the money to make sure you stay in budget. Now, it's not the village of the trustees' fault that your infrastructure is crap. Now, if we go back to January, I was receiving text messages and emails from random people saying, hey, the waters are shut off. They shut off our water. They did this. This is the village of Dalton. They shut off their water. And they do that on purpose. So what are you saying, sir? Like I said, this whole talk from these different individuals was to scold the trustees and to make them look like they're not doing their job. But their whole job is to manage finances. I don't know why I have to say this to people, and it really irritates me that I'm saying it to a bunch of Black folks. Their whole job is to manage finances. The finance, so you won't be up a creek without a paddle. And very soon we're going to find that they're up a creek without a paddle. Trustee House, he exposed everything. Now, I don't know what this lady talked about.
Will eliminate some of those estimated bills. So, I just want to thank you. Please keep working and fighting to get those digital water meters in. Also, payment arrangements are still available in the water department. The water department are looking for part-time water meters. Also, some of the residents did not know that the water department is open every Monday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Also, any water complaints should be sent to me, Juanita Darden, at jdarden@bodalton.org, or call me by phone, 708-201-2977. I know the gentleman said he had a complaint. I'll speak to you after the meeting, sir. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor, for everything.
All right. Next, we have housing. William Moore.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Board of Trustees, our department heads, and to our precious citizens. Mayor, if I can just
I guess he's a reverend, and he's going to scald the trustees. Particularly, he personally attacks Jason House.
Say, just for clarification, Trustee Holmes and Trustee Stan Brown have been in support of your vision. So every one of our department heads up here, we work interdepartmentally. If one is affected with the budget, we're all affected. And as the Director of Housing and Business Licensing, we try and turn this village around. Not at one point have we got into a meeting with our leader and she said what the previous administration has done. But I'm going to let you know, we came in and it was a mess. I worked in the water department, worked in housing. There's some very simple things that just weren't in place. And I see some of the faces, the same faces, but I'm going to tell you, it is affecting our residents. And at some point, we have to, we're not talking about agreement. We talk about what you're elected to do, and it's to serve our citizens. And we as a department head, me as a department head, we struggle when we don't get the resources that we need to satisfy our residents.
Yeah, their job is to serve their citizens by budgeting the money. Like I said, there's a disconnect, and not even a disconnect. I don't know who, they're not clear on the trustees' positions or what they're supposed to do. But why they keep on saying serve the public? Yeah, they are serving the public by budgeting their money. So you and those 12 other individuals that want to spend money and ball out and go out of town frequently, for you to stop doing that. It's a system of checks and balances. That's what they're supposed to do. So somebody needs to email all of them and say, hey, this is the trustee's job. We are here to budget the money. Budget the money. Can anybody tell them? Am I reaching here? That is literally what the trustee job is supposed to do. They're not out there to give food giveaways, to have high teas. They're not out there to do that. I mean, it's good if they, if they're campaigning or something like that, or doing something for the village, but their job is to communicate with the office and say, hey, this is what we have, the budget for the year. We want to approve these certain amount of services. We can't afford those services, so maybe we put that on the back end of the budget to see how much money, if we get a grant or something, maybe we could do that. Transparency. So communicate with the office and then communicate that with the people. Hey, we spent X amount of dollars of your taxes on these services. It's all good and dandy to say, oh, we got everything. We got everything we want. But normally it doesn't happen that way because you have a budget and you got to stay within the budget.
And I'm surprised that the residents who are not getting these services are not saying more about that, because we work tirelessly. So when they say we don't work, no, we're working tirelessly. I mean, 7:30 in the morning, sometimes 8, 9 o'clock at night. Why? Because it is a great need. So I'll leave it at this and I'll give my report. So I appreciate you hearing me out. But at what point, as leaders, do we have a conviction about taking care of the people's business? Because that's why we're here. That's why you were elected. That's why I was hired here. I don't care about the politics when it comes down to this simple thing. There are people in their homes who need the services. And to Stacey Carell's point, need the money. We have the money. Our mayor goes and gets the money. But we play these nickel-dime games with real people's lives. Please, people, let's do what's necessary so that we can satisfy the needs of our people, so that we can move Dalton forward, not backwards. So
this is what I get from this. Oh, they're saying they have the money. They don't have the money. Tiffany, probably behind the closed doors, you MFers, y'all niggas better say something, because I got X amount of dollars. We got grants, we got this, we got that. This is what Tiffany's saying. Okay, Tiffany, if that's true, then why are they holding up? Why are they saying that I will pull the trustees to the side? Okay, logically, can you show me what's what's in the budget for this year? Can you show me what the accounts payable and accounts receivable? Logically, you will want to see some type of paperwork. So if you can't be one-sided. You can't just say, whoa, we have the money. Where's the proof? If the trustee's been asking to see, hey, what's been paid, what's in the bank account, and they've been getting stonewalled, wouldn't you question that? This is what, and you're a elderly man. Do you do that in your household? If your wife said, oh, we have the money, and she keeps on spending, and you're like, well, I'm the only one working, and I know I only make X amount of dollars. So what do you mean we have the money? Something not adding up. Let me see. Did you pay the house? No. Did you pay the light? No. Did you pay blah, blah, blah? You can't put a bag over your head and say, oh, she said we had the money. So you a weak ass man. That's what I get. Because if you're doing that in a township, you're pretty much doing that in your household. You're doing that in your household. Somebody tell me something different. Without no paperwork. She said we had the money, so we had the money. No. Let me see the paperwork.
With that being said, I'll give my report. Very sad that our numbers are down. We just got ink for machines because you sure.
I mean, since you made a statement.
Now, this is Belcher responding back to the police officer, and they're going to go back and forth.
I respond. I said go hard or go home because, of course, everybody was prepped to say whatever they had to say today. But let me speak to say this. When we talk about what we not doing, trustees don't walk around with video cameras and drones showing every move they make. They don't have the resources that somebody else have on the taxpayers' dime to show everything they doing. These people sit up here talking about we ain't did nothing when all they're doing is listening to what somebody told them. For somebody to sit here and say the resources that we're taking away, for one, we have exceeded and over exceeded the budget that was initially put in. And so when we're getting emails talking about the cars being repossessed, and then somebody sitting here talking about that they know the money is there, I have a problem with that. Then when you bring the issue to, and everybody knows that police is very valuable. But when you're saying you hear 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you hear because you understaffed. You're understaffed because don't nobody want to work in Dalton. So when we talk about, yes, the police, they are doing their job. When I called you, you came immediately. So I've never said that. But at the same time, when something is happening, y'all have to stop saying it's politics. It's not politics. This is reality. Have you looked at the bank account lately? Do you know how much money is in there? Because I don't understand why a resident is coming telling us that we owe her $500 from 5 months ago. So have you looked in the bank account?
So let me say this. Let me say this, and then I'm gonna leave it alone because we can go back and forth.
We don't have to.
No, let me finish, trustee.
We don't.
Okay. Because when you say that, guess what? Because you said we're understaffed. We're understaffed because guess what? We're not at comparable salaries for a police officer coming here. Okay. I'll let you go. We're understaffed because every time you get up here, you, Trustee House, Trustee Brown, Trustee Norwood, get up here and say no to something to be said yes. Okay. You talk about that, guess what? The bank account. But the money that goes into the bank account or could go to the bank account, you vote down. So don't tell me that the money ain't there. I'm telling you what my guys are doing.
Okay.
They are risking their lives for something that can be settled right here in this room.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying to you.
That's fine.
So when you say that and you get on TV and you say what you say, don't do that.
And anything I said, I will
Trustee,
repeat.
let them finish.
Don't do that. You know
Okay.
why? Because it not only hampers the investigation, it puts my guys at risk.
Okay. Facts.
Okay. So the only thing I'm saying to you is if you want to make a difference, don't make it personal because you're making it personal against the mayor.
This not personal.
Let me finish because you just talked about all the TV stuff. Guess what? She's not doing anything that hasn't been done. We don't talk about the other communities to where, guess what? They have multiple shootings. Kind of like the same shooting that just happened up at AutoZone. Happened in Richmond Park, but you never heard of it because you're always attacking the mayor. So don't tell me it's not personal because it is. Because if it wasn't personal, you would support what's going on. And if I offend you, please forgive me. But let's talk real. Vote for what is right, not for what you want.
I'm not offended at all. And thank you so much.
Good job. Good job. All right.
Mayor, can I comment?
Okay. Before we start into the back and forth, let my administration finish with their reports because all they're gonna do is turn it to.
So she cuts off people. She doesn't want them to speak. Of course, her administration that she handpicked out is her henchmen, and they're going to back Tiffany up. Okay. They're saying that they voted down the budget. You didn't listen to what Trustee House said when he opposed the budget, because he said, well, this budget has increased almost across the board. Every department increased their budget across the board, and it doesn't make sense for them to increase the budget substantially. I'm pretty sure if it wasn't a such substantial increase, Trustee House probably would have voted yes. But $1 million in one department and everybody else was trying to increase their budget. Okay, no, I'm just going to vote everything down. And I don't blame him, because you got to be fiscally responsible. Now, when they say, for instance, Tiffany Belcher, Norwood, House, and I forget what the other lady's name. Say, for instance, they were all in agreement and they said, oh, Tiffany, you're so right. I love you. Blah, blah, blah. We're going to, whatever you want to do, we're going to do it. And then the checks started bouncing. And we know checks are bouncing. We know they're not paying the bills. What are they? Who will be the blame for that? These trustees, they will be the blame. They will be the absolute blame for their demise. But now, since they're opposing what Tiffany's trying to do, is bringing down the village, who's going to be to blame then? Tiffany. Tiffany will be to blame, which she should, because we already know they don't have access to any of the information that they need to do their job. Anyway, let's keep on moving
back and forth, and then we never gonna get out here. So go ahead, Kim.
In our budget to continue to pick up dogs, we can't do our job.
Now she talking about damn dogs. I don't know what lady she maybe the Humane Society or the Animal Protection Services. I'm not for sure, but she's talking about that's not in the budget. Come on now, let's stop it with the madness. They're just complaining right now. And Stanley Brown, he actually didn't go off and start talking about the services. He actually talked about his budget. But then you got Trustee House. He's about to expose all of them.
And
Trustee.
really the intention was to
Trustee.
until the attacks came.
$1,790, $488.84. American Rescue Plan, $2,039.99. Total corporate payments, $5,648,738.13. There's a motion to accept these bills as read.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a motion and second? Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I have a comment.
All right.
I have a comment. I'm gonna follow with a superseding motion. Alternative. I'm used to Tiffany Nelson Ross. She gives me the direction on that. However, I'm gonna say this in terms of kind of all the things that have been said. First, I want to commend Trustee Norwood, Trustee Tammy Brown, Trustee Deanna
Trustee.
Belcher.
Trustee.
Floor is mine, Mayor.
Trustee.
I want to commend
Trustee.
them for standing in here during these attacks.
Trustee House stood his ground. You should. Don't let her intimidate you. And I'm so glad he did this.
Trustee.
No, the mayor does not want to hear
Trustee.
what he said. However,
This is why the meetings get out of order. Can you stay on track with what we're talking about, which is corporate bills? If you want to say your comment, you can say your comment after it's a motion and a second on the floor, Trustee. 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 It's a motion and second on the floor regarding the bills. Can we stay the course?
Getting towards the bills, Mayor.
Trustee. You can make
So,
your statement
as
after
we're
we're done
talking
with the
about
bills,
the bills
Trustee.
and the budget.
Trustee.
So,
Trustee.
Mayor,
But you
we
want to
can-
leave though, right?
we can-
This
we
this
can-
why we get nowhere.
I'll wait till you
We
finish,
get
but I'll make it
nowhere
quick.
because you guys want it your way. Y'all don't follow no Robert rules of order.
Worried
Y'all
about
want to
what we
get
gotta
out of
say.
order when y'all want to
Worried
talk.
about what we gotta
But
say.
come on, I am worried about it. Don't worry about the rest is for the find out what y'all been up to in 1 second. Don't worry about it. But what I'm saying to you is stick to the agenda. We on corporate bills. This is why we stay here all night. All night. Let's keep going. Go talk
So,
about the bills. What do you want to
thanks
supersede and
the
do?
board for holding, and
Trustee.
really the intention was to sit back
Trustee.
until the attacks came
Trustee.
and just go through the vote. But everybody was giving acknowledgement. So we want to talk about the bills and what the board has cut out. The bills are not being paid currently at this very moment.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Last
But you out of
week-
order, but I'm just trying to show
last
y'all how
week,
y'all be so disrespectful.
received
And y'all
last-
expect the respect to be respect. You out of order, trustee. Stick to the facts. The facts is on the agenda. We on corporate bills. Talk about the bills.
So
What do you want to talk
corporate
about
bills.
as it relates to the bills? That way we can get through the entire agenda. If we keep stopping, because everybody want to argue about whatever their point is, because that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about corporate bills. So let's get through going back and forth about what bill y'all gonna take out, what bill y'all not gonna take out. Let's go through that.
So
So
we have
go to the bill.
and I will name for State Bank, which is our police vehicles, the Durangos and the Fiats for Public Works. That bill was approved by the board May of 2023. We received an email stating that those cars will be repossessed if we do not get any payment. That email had been communicated already. Nobody responded. So imagine my surprise 7 months later, I get an email and I forward the email over like I do the other 15 that I've received. No response. And then come in here and say, oh, the board cut something out. I'm going over. These construction repaved all those streets. We're happy for that. Board approved that. June of 2023. They are owed $300,000. Just got an email 2 days ago about the police ammunition. Hasn't been paid. Overdue. December 23. That hadn't even been presented to the board. So the board is approving what's needed. Another one, I'm getting calls about electricity, lights not being put on. Residents say the board hasn't approved it. Mead, which is the light post. For those who are not getting their lights turned on, board approved that. September 2023. Lights still not on. Mead still has not received the payment. So this circus that's being put on right now about put something back in the budget, we've seen there. It's been reported, and you know this is going to end up with another video because we're going to put the documentation out there. Everybody, we can come in here, say what we want to. At the end of the day, vendors are not being paid. Board approved it. The vendors are not being paid. So when we sit here and we talk about how we don't have the only item from the police budget specifically, and I'm saying that I understand from each one. I understand that everybody up there had to say what they were told to say. But I'm going to say this. No, the police department works hard. The fire department works hard. Public works works hard. That's why I don't take any offense at what's being said because I know where it's coming from. But if we're going to just talk about this in real terms, the items taken out of the departments was the overtime. And that's because the overtime is being spent in ways that it shouldn't. But if we want to talk about more officers, gladly, we put that in there. And I've just listed several, and I have more items that have been approved by the board. People still haven't received the checks. Brother Moore, you prayed us in on unity. You prayed us in, and it came with the most divisive speech I heard in my life. Don't pray for me no more. If we're going to do this and we're going to be honest about it, let's be honest and be direct. But if we're going to sit here and keep doing this, because I really wasn't going to make no speech. I was going to sit here, but it's just coming. I have a superseding motion to amend the bills as read, removing. And again, I said this the last meeting. This is set up for a fight. It's set up. I'm going to read the same things that I read last meeting because it was given to us again. This meeting to approve, to take off the list. This is nothing new. This is the same stuff last time. But when the mayor doesn't get away, she puts it down there and keeps trying to shove it down your throat until you have to approve it. Amended motion, please remove the following items. On page 2, Aurelio's Pizza, $131.63. Page 2, Best Western Plus, $300.18.
So you see, they kind of ticked, well, not kind of, they really pissed Trustee House off. He's really not that, he's not this guy. They took it to a level that he couldn't really just sit there and watch the charade and the parade around, because this is not even his character to do this kind of stuff. But I'm glad he did it. You know, sometimes you have to, push back on people and, get down in the dirt with people if they're being dirty. And you notice how Tiffany ended up being quiet. Somebody probably told her, yeah, back off. Just let him talk. So he's reading the bills of what he want to put off. You guys heard what he said. You heard it if you've seen these board meetings. He takes off the same stuff that they have on the bills to be paid. Now, Tiffany is going to make a long speech that lasted 10 minutes. And her speech, she acts as if she's somebody's mama, and you're not. You're not nobody's mama. You can't tell people what to say and when to say it because they're all grown people. And you see how she got her damn mouth open. Let me screenshot that. Because she's a tyrant. This lady is a tyrant. And she's mad because she's not getting her way. She can't control the narrative. She cannot control the narrative. You guys got to forgive me. Somebody's outside. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Cutting their lawn, but it's wintertime. So.
Oh, us, a group, a team, the board of trustees included, us, we. Wake up. Stop following blind. I keep telling y'all.
She's saying stop following blind, but come on, you need to stop. And then this girl speaks. I don't know why she's speaking. She's going to try to say, oh, we paid that bill. Well, you paid it late.
Board meeting.
If I can get a response, then
No.
I will not make a
And
statement.
I get that part. But you know
Okay.
what? You can also get a response
sorry.
from me, the head of the department.
No, so this is what I want to get at. This guy that doesn't know what's going on, the police chief, he's asking trustee, oh, you could have emailed me. No, you don't pay the goddamn bills. Why would I email you? You don't pay the bills. Hey, you know that bill wasn't paid. You don't pay the bills. You do not pay the bills. You put in an invoice or whatever. Hey, if it was approved, after it was approved, it should be out of your hands. You shouldn't have to worry about monthly bills. But he's saying, oh, you could have emailed me. For what? That is not even your responsibility. Actually, I'm supposed to be emailing the accountant and going to the clerk and saying, hey, did they mail off this check? Because I'm getting an email saying they're about to repo this fleet of cars. Anyway, so this girl, she's going to claim that this is the accountant, not the accountant. Yeah, well, I guess this is the village accountant or whatever. And Tangenique Miller, she don't know what's going on either. She doesn't know.
Give you the
I will
information that
include
you
on
need.
future emails.
Okay.
I-
All right, go ahead, Tangenique.
So let me address what's the AP process, since we all don't work together and you all work in silos. Each department head enters their own invoices. They make their orders. They talk with vendors. They know what they need. So if you did have a question about where their orders are, if we have not received the invoice and they have not been inputted, the person to go to would be the department head. So when he's saying, can you please speak to me about the invoices, it's because he really knows the status of where the service was, who was ordered, and whatever was going on.
You know why I know she's lying? That only happens when it's something out of the ordinary. Okay, I ordered X amount of ammunition. We could say ammunition. I order X amount of ammunition and I put the invoice in there for it. But fleet cars, you don't have to do that. They approve the budget for the fleet car. Usually on fleet cars, they give you a total amount. Like we saw that $150,000 truck that what's your girl name that she agreed to? We saw that. We saw that she signed up for that lease. They didn't approve the lease. They would not have approved the lease. So those checks should be automatically sent out. We know they pay that every month. Every month it's going to be on. You shouldn't have to put that in the invoice. Why would they have to do that? Now, if there's ammunition, we got a special order ammunition, blah, blah, blah. These are the invoices that have to be paid. Maybe we want to take, and if they're taking off the truck, maybe we're turning that lease in. But it doesn't make sense that you're lying about the process. Why are you lying? Why are you lying? Why are you fixing your mouth to lie about that? And why does, like I said, why does trustee have to email the the police chief to say, hey, you know, you didn't pay your bills. Yeah, I know I didn't pay my bills because I'm not responsible for paying them. Duh. Like what's going on here? Like they literally, none of these people know their jobs.
Yeah, go ahead.
And Tangenique Miller is always the one that's she never really says nothing, but when she gets on the mic, she acts like she's gonna give a zinger and she doesn't. It's like, okay, what's your point? I want to get to Norwood. Norwood had a great speech. Tiffany didn't want to acknowledge Norwood. I heard Tiffany and I heard, this is my gossip column. I heard Tiffany and Norwood about to get down on the get down. They was about to fight each other. But Tiffany does not like her. So, but we're going to hear Norwood speak, and she gave a great speech.
You don't know how that affects our resident.
Yep.
I need to be recognized.
All right, go ahead.
Let me first start off by saying, Mayor, that's the issue that we have. You say out your mouth, oh, you don't say what you said. It's not your job to tell me what to say. 22,000 residents, when they voted, they gave me permission to say whatever I decide to say in this seat. And that's what you do not understand. You sit up here with these smoke and mirrors. This is not a dictatorship. You're not Putin, and this is not Russia. This is a democracy. That's why we are here. You say, oh, me and my people in the back, we do this, we do that. They don't do anything. They don't do anything. First off, our job is legislation, because I know someone asked about our job. Could you let me finish more? Because I'm right now is not the time. Let me finish. So, as the legislative branch, our job is to oversee the finances and to create ordinances. That's our job. So first, when you all sit up here and say, oh, well, you all voted no for this, you all voted no for that, that's our job. That is what the people elected us to sit up here and do, to monitor the finances, because they know, the government know that there may be people like you who sit up here and just spend all willy-nilly without the board's discretion. That's why we put ordinances in place. You say, oh, well, what about the money? What about the money? Our job is to oversee the finances. But yet, I have an email here where Trustee House is asking, hey, guys, we haven't received the financial report since September. Hey, guys, we haven't received credit card statements, so we don't know what's been spent since June of 2023. This is almost a whole nother year. Payroll reports. We haven't received the payroll report since December. So when we talk about what we're doing, this is what we are here to do. At the end of the day, when they say, oh, well, put this back in the budget, put that back in the budget. First off, they don't even follow the budget, because if they did, we wouldn't be $7 million in debt if they did. If we did, we would have the mayor spending an overtime of a whole entire $1 million. We're talking about the police. We're not saying the police is not doing a good job. What we're saying is you're assigning all of them to be with you when they should be out here protecting the residents so we can all feel safe. So you sit here and say, oh, well, we did give them the paperwork. Why would we be in court demanding to receive paperwork in which we received? That's the thing. When she sit here and she say, oh, they're lying. So what do? We went on YouTube and provided receipts. People love the receipts so much because now they can see who was lying and who was telling the truth. But what did our administration do at that point? Cut off access. So now we can't see credit card statements. We don't know what's being spent. We talk about what's scary. You know what's scary to me as a trustee who had the people elect me to do this job? What's scary is not how much is in our bank account. That's scary. Not knowing what position our deficit is in. When we last checked, it was a $7 million deficit in September. So let's talk about facts. You sit up here and you demean us all day like you have children up here, and which you do not. Do your job. Be a great leader. Talk to your board. You all say, oh, well, they want to prove this. They don't know what's going on. How about it's your job to be a good leader and tell us? That's your job. We shouldn't have to call you every meeting. Call my phone. How about you be a good leader? Bring RFPs to the forefront. So not just us, but the residents and everybody else in America know how the money is being spent. But residents, if she loves you so much, why won't she present the RFPs for the board? Because that's all we're asking for. We're saying, hey, spend the money, get the services, but let's get the best bang for our services. Why are we paying $10,000 for a tree that costs $1,000? But she say kickbacks. Who's receiving the real kickbacks? And that's why we are asking for receipts. Show us the information. Give us the facts. You sit up here, you talk about what we're doing, what we're not doing. Just do your job. Don't worry about my job. My job is to sit up here and do what the residents elected me to do. The resident email us and say, oh, well, Public Works is being informed by the mayor to tell us that we haven't paid the light company, so residents can't have lights on their block. But then she also stated that, oh, she drive down Sibley and she see that the whole Sibley is lit up in Christmas ornaments. So we don't have the money to fix these residents' lights. Their safety is not a priority. What's the priority? The lights. So we can look as if the job is being done in Dalton. But when deep down inside, we're overpaying for services, all of the services. We're in a deficit. So
Okay, trustee, we gotta reel it in. We gotta reel it in.
So like I stated, have her talk the facts while she's up here with these smoke and mirrors. Have her show you the information. Why she can't put it on the website? Why you all can't see it? She sits up here and say every time, oh, we're not in a deficit. Prove it to us. They say, oh, you all cut off the credit cards. Trustee Belcher said, can you show us where we cut off the credit cards? We have our finance director said, oh yeah, I have it. Can we have it sent to us? Why don't we have this information? Why are we asking for information that's supposed to be provided? So again, I'm going to say one last time, this is our job. And until my seat is up next year, whether win or lose, that is what I'm going to do. So if I see charges being overcharged for, no, I'm not going to vote on it. So tell your mayor to bring the RFPs in front of the board and let's do this like a regular government should and say, hey, John wants to pay this much. This person wants this much. What should we do, board? That's what you call inclusiveness, working together. But yet she wants to do everything alone and then sit up here and say they're not doing anything. And at the end of the day, we're supposed to be a team. Thank you.
All right. Real quick. Ron, you back there? Just stand up for me real quick. Stand up for me real quick. Stand up. I just need a yes or no. Do we do RP in bids? Yes or no? Thank you. So stop. Get your facts. Hold on. Hold on. That's it. That's it. You can sit down. I'm going to go on to the next people.
So Tiffany, she tried because, you know, if you don't know how a township or village operates, the guy back there, that's the engineering department. They have to do RFPs, but there's more than engineering in department when they're talking about RFPs. We're talking about the whole village, the vendors RFPs. What are we saying here? So that, and you see how Tiffany is trying to, oh, we do RFPs, and she asked the engineering guy. Well, that's not the only person that's doing RFPs in the village. So yeah, Norwood, she blasted them. Trustee House pulled their card, and since they have documented information, and you know the residents, they're looking at them like, yeah, where are the documents? Where is this information? I mean, even though we probably don't know much about it, but we do know how to read numbers. You know, some of the people that's in the township or in the meeting, they actually want to see the numbers. That's the whole purpose of them showing up to the meeting. But Tiffany is mad as hell now. She's really upset. She is really upset about this. And I'm surprised she let, I forget what this lady's name. She let her she let her talks, but it's not going good for Tiffany. Tiffany is frazzled right now.
Laugh so much up here. But anyway, go ahead, Stacy. Go ahead. You got the floor, Stacy.
As it relates to lights, over. I don't know if anybody can recall 5-6 months ago, the bills were not being paid, which created a situation to where everything bagged up. Services do not stop because bills did not get paid. The services will continue to roll and accumulate more debt as we go. We have to service the community. As it relates to whatever you may see on Sibley, those are two separate things. Our lights and our holiday decorations are two different things. If we would pay the bills in a timely fashion, we would not be behind with these vendors. They would still be working. It's only because the bills weren't paid for 5 months and then randomly started back paying them. 8 months.
Can I please say one thing? It's not what we are saying. It's what the residents are telling us. Residents are calling, telling us that they're being told that the bill is not paid because the trustee didn't vote on it. Who don't pay their light bill? Who don't pay their gas bill?
Trustees.
You gotta pay the necessary things to keep your house functioning. So that's the same thing you do here. You pay the necessary things that needs to run your household. And then when you get up here and say respect, respect is earned. It's not just given. You want respect, you give respect. You want to be disrespected, then you do the things you do now. I don't sit up here and go with the back and forth. I'm gonna say what I gotta say and keep it moving. And as far as some of these folks sit up here and say, call me. You can't call them because they ain't gonna give you a damn answer. You can't call them. You need services for the residents. You can't get no service for the residents because they don't return your damn call. So while we sit up here going back and forth, tell the damn truth. We sit up here every month and do the same crap every month, back and forth. You want this crap to stop? Let everybody sit down at the table and hash your mess out. Stop getting up here and then say, oh, well, no, the trustee didn't call me. Hell, I can't call you because you don't return my phone call. Call me. You can't call me. If I need, I'll call you. I haven't needed you yet, so I haven't called you. But I have some people I have called. No, they have not returned my phone call. So you want to get up here and say how people get all bent out of shape because the lies go back and forth. I don't have to lie. As I said before and I said it again, I don't have to sit up here and lie. Vendors are not being paid. The emails I sent, I don't have to nobody. You want to see it? Come and see me. I say that every damn month and nobody comes and see it. It's a doggone shame. 3 years and you still have the same damn thing when you came in. This crap needs to stop. It's ridiculous. You still keep
So when she's speaking, you hear Tiffany in the background talking because she's disrespectful. She doesn't want, she has to keep something else going on so she won't react. I think that's a placeholder for her so she won't blow up and act out of character. Well, it will be her character. She don't want the people to see the real her. So she does that on purpose. Talk in the background, in the mic, where people could hear her. So
go back and forth and all the lies being told.
I just want to get to this one last part. And this is the part where they were talking about the tax levy. And Tiffany is pissed off about this. They, Trustee House, they tried to pull a fast one, number one. They tried to say, hey, you voted on this tax levy and it wasn't 20 days. This happened prior. And so they tried to pull a fast one saying, oh, this is out of order or you can't do this. So you got to vote on this new order. And they changed the numbers. And so Trustee House wanted to amend it. And apparently, I guess it needed 20 days. So they didn't amend it correctly. So now they're at crunch time. According to this lawyer, Delgado lawyer, you have to have it in a vote, I guess, put the tax levy in and vote it in the necessary time for it to take effect. Because if you don't do it in time, then you'll miss the allocated time to actually collect the taxes from the residents. So they're really on crunch time. So Trustee House said, no, I want to vote in the same tax number that we voted on in December. I don't want to vote in a new one. And she would, what's her name? Tiffany and Freeman is mad as hell. They're mad about that. And it passed.
Yes, they gotta tell the lie.
You can wake up and pay attention. So they did that. Makes sense. Several months. And I say, well,
so she's going over because she got they got a court case. We talked about that. They got a court case against them. The trustees got a court case against Tiffany. So she's talking about their lawyer.
Explain to you guys exactly what it is. You know exactly what we need to do when Attorney Tiffany Nelson was here. So you guys know we need to pass this to get our taxes. Look, I'm just tell y'all like this. Y'all either gonna pass it or you're not. The lawyer explained it to y'all when she was here. If y'all did not understand or needed more explanation, y'all could have asked. So to get here again and not receive the taxes for our community, hold on, for our community, because that's how we pay public works. That's how we pay police. That's how we pay fire. So if y'all don't vote for that, we don't get no taxes. Do you hear me? We won't get no taxes. So we can play this little game all we want. So residents, be ready. Because when we don't get money to pay for public service, it ain't on me. It's on the board of trustees. So what we gonna do? Are we paying? Are we passing this tax levy so we can get our taxes?
I will restate my position and the board can vote. Of course,
I didn't know you spoke for everybody. So do anybody else got an opinion? Hold on, Trustee House. Do anybody else got an opinion of what they want to do? Trustees?
This has already been approved.
Hold on.
So this
hold
is
on.
a repeat.
Do anybody else got an opinion?
Trustees. Thank you.
Trustees, do anybody else got an opinion that's sitting down there? Y'all just listen to one person. I'm just saying.
I'd like to give it to the village administrator and finance director to speak on that.
Okay. Okay. You ready? You want them to?
Tiffany is mad. Even Stan Brown is saying, oh yeah, I want to see what they're talking about. He wants to see the difference. She's pissed off because she wants this tax levy increase because she's sweating bullets. She's sweating bullets because they don't have enough money in their bank account. You know how it is, you know, when you like robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's where they're at right now. They're robbing Peter to pay Paul. And then they got a whole bunch of lawsuits pending on them that they're going to lose. They're going to lose these lawsuits.
Explain what we're doing. What did you want to? She said, "What's the question?" Okay. So did you want to explain it? I'll let the lawyer explain so that it's crystal clear or whatever it is. Okay, no problem. Because I don't know what trustee I was talking about.
Do you want to, Administrator Freeman, can you take them through the history and then I'll explain from there?
So in December, on the December board meeting, the meeting that the trustees left out, we put on the agenda approval of the tax levy estimate, announcement of the tax levy estimate. And then the very next, I believe 2 days later, they had a special meeting,
secret squirrel meeting,
in which they approved the tax levy. According to the Illinois Municipal Code, you have to have
20
at
days.
least 20 days between the announcement and the actual passage of the tax levy to be approved. I believe Attorney Nelson Jaworski explained that at the last meeting.
Yep.
So we, at the last meeting, what we did was is we made the tax levy announcement, and now we're ready to approve the tax levy, seeing as though it's been more than 20 days.
Yep.
That's where we are, Trustee Brown. Thank you.
Yes. So what Administrator Freeman said is exactly accurate. You can't pass a tax levy without the estimate. And so you would be submitting the tax levy without the statement that you've complied with all applicable laws. And so you can't sign the tax levy document approved in December because there was no estimate made 21 days prior to thereto. So there's been an estimate of levies. And my understanding is that this tax levy before the board reflects the current estimate, or the only estimate that's been on record.
Nothing's been presented.
Nothing. That's what the issue. Nothing has been presented for this meeting.
And also, Attorney, I would say we have a conflicting. I would ask if you can conference with Attorney McGrath, and then that way we can find the way.
We not conflicting with nobody. We are talking to our lawyer here, the village lawyer.
Do you have advice that you don't need to make an estimate of tax
Yes,
levies?
sir. We have advice that it was already approved.
You know they always lose
So
lawsuits.
again,
Don't listen to them.
I will ask if
know you have
too. And again, I really am trying to eliminate more of the back and
No,
forth.
I know
So
you are,
please,
and I'm
please
just
confirm.
trying to understand. So I know you have legislative counsel.
Yes.
I'm glad to try to rectify it because I think it's extremely important that the
Agreed.
village have a tax levy on file.
Agreed.
Otherwise, you won't get taxes.
Absolutely.
I can say unequivocally that you need to have a tax levy estimate. The law is very clear, and you need to have a written tax levy adopted by the board. And so those two things need to occur. One is to occur prior to the other.
Yeah.
So I know that there has been an estimate of levies, which I believe was made after the adoption of your December levy.
Correct.
And so what I don't know, which perhaps Administrator Freeman can clarify, was the estimate of levies made for the same amount as the tax levy adopted in December? And is the estimate of levies made for the same amount as the property tax levy before the board?
Yes.
There's nothing that we have before the board right
My
now.
understanding. At the last meeting, excuse me. Yes, sir. At the last meeting, we had an estimate of levies. The board approved the estimate of levies. Now it's time to pass the tax levy. Now is the time to pass the tax levy. If I may. Sure. The estimate was presented. The board amended the estimate to be consistent with what was voted on in December. And the documentation for the amended request that was made in early January has not been presented. So the document that was presented at the last board meeting is not consistent with what the board voted.
You see how they tried to change it. And that's what the discrepancy is. They tried to pull a fast one on the general public. And Trustee House and I believe Belcher end up catching it. These are not the same numbers. So we passed the tax levy, but then when we wanted to vote it in, the numbers were different. So why are you lying? And this is when she gets really pissed off because she doesn't want them Delgado to meet with their lawyer, the trustees, or basically the village lawyer, the legislation lawyer. And it's sad that you're trying to pull a fast one on the trustees.
Mayor,
go ahead.
We haven't received any documentation with regards to the estimates of what they came up with for their amendment at all from either the trustees or their legislative council. We haven't received any. So I would again ask if Attorney Delgado can conference with Attorney McGrath and we can get this corrected the right way.
The short answer is yes. My concern is if you don't adopt the levy tonight, we're going to be that much more behind. Is there an amount? So the estimate of levies does not have to be exact as to the amount that is levied. Is there an amount that at least can be reflected on a tax levy that everybody agrees to, and then perhaps a supplemental levy after you guys work this out? My fear is if we end up in March, after the tax bills have been printed, the train will have left without the village of Dalton on board.
So I appreciate that. Yes, if the levy presented mirrors the amount of the previous year, then the board will be, well, myself, I will be okay with voting towards that. So I again will say I will be okay with voting yes, conditioned that the property taxes are the same as the previous year. And if they're willing to conference with Attorney McGrath on the proper paperwork that should be done, I'm completely fine with that.
Okay, so is the motion to have the taxes the same as the previous year, correct? Is that your motion, Trustee House?
Yes, ma'am.
Wait,
Okay.
go back. What's the motion?
To have the taxes be the same as the previous year. Is that correct? Okay. So that's what they're gonna get and get back with us. So we're just voting so we don't miss our taxes for March when the bills come out. So we better pay the public works, fire, and police. Is there a second?
I'm second.
Yeah.
I say I second. You can put me down for a second.
Okay. Go ahead.
I just asked for a clarifying question. So the document, the tax levy written.
So we're not going to view anything else. Trustee or Tiffany Henard, she was pissed off about that. She was really pissed off. She wanted that tax levy increase voted on in today. And Trustee House said, no, I want the same taxes that reflected last year. And they, like I said, they tried to change the actual estimated amount versus the amount that they was voting on. They tried to change it. So they're dishonest, a bunch of dishonest people. Anyway, so that's Tiffany Henard and her henchmen. Of course, they wanted to scold the village, the trustee, Dalton Village trustees, and I don't think they were successful. I believe people opened their eyes up and really starting to see, hey, they are doing us a disservice. In the beginning of this video, which I didn't show it, I might make a different video about this. I would like to see where in the world did she get all this money from to have this toy giveaway? Where did that money come from? Did she spend money out of her pocket, or did she spend money out of the townships or the Village of Dalton budget? Was it through the CARES Foundation? She had this big Christmas giveaway. This is what she was, and everybody was all happy. And there was a bunch of toys and everything that she was giving away. It almost looked like a store. It was like a Santa's workshop. And she was giving away a bunch of toys. She was dressed up as Mrs. Claus. Look at all that stuff. Just toys everywhere. Where did those, was it donated? Or can we say Tiffany? I don't think Tiffany is getting donations. I think she just liked to be the big dog and she bought all these toys. It's only speculations, but this is what I believe. She bought all these toys for this toy giveaway. And I believe sooner or later, you see all that stuff. Now, my mom, she has given toys away for at least about 30 years in her community. And she signed up for Toys for Tots. And she don't get this many toys. And she's been doing it for 30 years. So how did Tiffany pull this one off? And not to say she can't do it. I'm pretty sure she probably could call a few people and say, oh, can you donate to this or donate to that? But would it be that drastic? Or did she call on the residents to donate? But this is a lot of toys. And they were saying that residents was able to pick up 2 to 3 toys per child. Anyway, that's just a little nugget I want to throw out there. I think she used the village money to fund that operation. Is it a bad thing? I think it's yes. It's fiscally irresponsible. It is a bad thing. If you're going to get charity done, unless you're a millionaire and you're donating your money out of your own funds, but it should not be used out of the public funds. It should not be used out of taxpayer funds. Now, if you're saying, oh, we're going to donate X amount of dollars and make X amount of dollars to give out Christmas toys, okay. But people should be able to say, hey, I'm going to give $20, $10, or unless you're going to have a toy drive. She could have had a toy drive, but no, you didn't have a toy drive. This is, I went to the store and bought a whole bunch of stuff of the same type of items. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think about that whole situation. I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm going to get to, before we get off, I want to talk about Joe Biden. Not Joe Biden, but Donald Trump, actually. Donald Trump, they actually said they denied him immunity. Remember, Donald Trump was trying to claim he should be immune to any type of charge, especially the January 6th charges, because he was in office then. And since he was not impeached, he thought he wasn't impeached in the Senate. He thought he should be immune. And this Supreme Court came back and said, no, you are not immune. Now, it wasn't far reach, but they really scolded him in this, I guess, this reading that they came out with. And this is NBC News talking about this. And we're only going to play the first few.
Arts Academy in the Woods High School.
I'm only going to play the first few minutes of it, but basically, they're not going to grant him immunity. He's not immune for any type of charges. They said he's operating or did operate out of the capacity of him being the president. Okay. So this is what they're talking about.
Have enough things on your plate. DIY pest control shouldn't be one of them.
Results. This all ahead of his criminal trials that are slated to start a little bit later this year, as early as March, perhaps. Let's go straight to our senior legal correspondent, Laura Jarrett. So let's just start with what this ruling means and what it does not mean. And I would assume that the president will likely appeal immediately to the Supreme Court.
He may go to the Supreme Court, Craig, but just to walk people through what has happened here, the former president tried to file this motion to try to get the case completely wiped away from the books, right? Because if he's immune from prosecution, then he cannot be tried at all. And again, this isn't the case in Washington, D.C., where he's been accused of trying to overturn the last election. Now, he lost in the lower court on that issue. He appealed up to this 3-judge panel. 2 Biden appointees, 1 Bush appointee has rejected that completely. Now that he's lost at this level, he can try to go to the full panel of D.C. Circuit judges there. There are about 11 or 13 active judges. Or if he wants, he can go to the Supreme Court. Now, why might he want to go to the full D.C. Circuit? Because the whole point of this is to delay. And so if he does that, it slows this train down, Craig.
NBC's Garrett Hake has been covering the former president. Garrett joins us now. They're from Washington. Garrett, have we heard anything so far from the former president or his team?
We've not yet, Craig, but I think we know what we will hear from the former president. I suspect he will announce an appeal either to the district court, to the appeals court en banc, as Laura was suggesting, or to the Supreme Court. He has been really singularly focused on this case, including posting on social media overnight what he believes is the importance of continuing this concept of presidential immunity past the presidency, suggesting that any future president would immediately be indicted after leaving office by the opposing party. He argues in in public, to a lesser degree than in his filings before the courts, that a sitting president would be unable to properly function if this ruling had gone against him. Again, that was a post from last night. I suspect we will soon hear more from him today. And Craig, remember that Donald Trump has made all of these legal battles that he's engaged with, but especially this case, central to his campaign. He argues that this is all political speech that he was involved in, that he's being targeted by the courts and by the Biden Justice Department because he cannot be beaten by President Biden electorally. Now he has this court defeat on his plate. I suspect we will soon see this continue to be a centerpiece of his political arguments. It has worked for him with his base, winning these first early primaries in the Republican presidential nominating contest. Many Republican voters I've talked to say they could have agree with Donald Trump in theory about these cases, but there's peril for him politically down the line if these cases do move forward into the summer and early fall election season, Craig.
I think that's an incorrect assessment. I think if it does move forward, I think this is still going to galvanize his base. People are still going to more likely to vote for Donald Trump. This immunity approach wasn't a far-fetched approach. I think, when you're a president, you could do some stuff that normal people won't do. You could actually declare war on people without having any type of crimes put against you. So, but in the document, it says they noted that no, you are actually a civilian at the point when they were exchanging power. They put that little insert in there. And also they noted that Donald Trump, one of the questions that they posed to some of Donald Trump's lawyers. So you saying that Donald Trump will be will have immunity if he assassinated his political opponent. And it's like these really far reach questions that you were like, why would I assassinate my political opponent? That would never happen. Well, it's happened in other countries, but we're talking about the United States here. Now, is Joe Biden trying to politically assassinate Donald Trump? I would think that a majority of people that like Donald Trump, they will agree that, yeah, he's trying to politically assassinate Donald Trump. And he's using the hate that people really hate Donald Trump. He's using that to fund that particular operations and, just the many court cases that Donald Trump is facing. Now, just to note, you guys, this is not going to really affect any other cases. It really, really affects maybe the January 6th case. The January 6th case, did he cause an insurrection? Was he the cause of the insurrection? Was he the main cause? And they mentioned that in this document when they in this ruling. Is he responsible for that? Now, this is to take off. Now we're expecting to hear from Colorado, should he be allowed on the ballot? I'm thinking that they're going to say, yes, he's allowed on the ballot only because he's never been convicted of a crime. Just because you said he's accused of this, but he's never been convicted. So since he's never been convicted of these crimes that we're accusing him of, not we, but the public is accusing him of, and, the DAs are accusing him, we still have to allow him on the ballot because it's unconstitutional. You are innocent until proven guilty. So I don't think it's going to really affect him in a negative way. It affects him now. I think it's just going to slow up the process of him getting past these court cases to move forward. So, but by that time, we would know that Donald Trump is the Republican nominee, because we only got a month away. And who else will be the nominee for the Republican Party? You guys put in the chat, who else will be the nominee? Now, somebody mentioned that Joe Biden gave a speech, maybe a powerful speech. I doubt Joe Biden can give powerful speeches at his age in regards to the border. The border, that crisis is still ongoing. And Joe Biden is mad. Joe Biden is mad because that border deal, they killed it. It was a bad deal. And I'm glad they didn't pass it because it had so many millions of dollars to fund people that were over here to, fund their lawyers, the lawyer process to become residents or legal residents of or citizens of America. And then it also fund, the actual deportation of borders. They had a little amount in there, and then they had other stuff to secure the borders, like $60 million. But the majority of the budget went to Ukraine. Let me repeat. The majority of this budget went to Ukraine. And I think it was Chuck Schumer or whoever it was online yesterday saying, hey, if you don't pass this budget for Ukraine and the border budget, it's a good deal. It's bipartisan. We could expect that we will have American soldiers over there in Ukraine by next year. Like, what are you saying? So you're trying to use scare tactics? How about put Americans first? So this is what they're saying at ABC.
Trump. He blamed Donald Trump for wanting to use this as a political issue, weaponizing it, saying he wants to run against this issue instead of actually helping the American people. He used this speech also as an opportunity to blame and shame Republicans, asking them, who do you serve? Do you serve the American people or do you serve Donald Trump? And so really the president here, he's flipping the script. He's saying this might not succeed, but I'm going to tell you why. The president also used this, Kira, as an opportunity to lay out why he thinks the deal that the White House played months of the role in negotiating is good for the American people, walking through how it increased security at the border, how many people who are traditionally even conservative have backed this, and how it also is what he calls tough and humane. He did address some of the pushback that we've seen from progressives about how this doesn't address issues like asylum and a pathway to citizenship. And the president there saying this doesn't get me everything I want. And the third message that the president was conveying here was the element of Ukraine, how this is an urgent issue, how Ukraine is in dire straits. And we've heard the president reiterate this before, that failing to aid Ukraine, that would be a gift to Putin. That would be exactly playing into Vladimir Putin's hands. But really what struck me, Kira, was the number of times that the president called out Donald Trump. We're going to continue to hear the president make that message over and over again from here until November, that Donald Trump is the reason why this didn't get done.
So, Jay, is it Donald Trump? Or is it these Senate Republicans that are pushing back, saying, no, the problem is that you're not clamping down on these illegal border crossings and we need more? The president says you're just playing games. Senate Republicans that are pushing back said, no, we're not. We want more.
Yeah, and the answer is yes. I mean, it's all of these factors playing in here at once. Certainly, the most pressure exerted early on was from Donald Trump. Remember, for weeks now, Donald Trump has been out on the campaign trail and posting on social media, urging congressional Republicans not to back this deal, because as the president noted in his remarks, he's been very plain about saying that this is an issue he wants to run on in 2024. So this momentum of trying to kill this bill, certainly in large part, began with former President Trump. Even Speaker Mike Johnson, who is an opponent of this deal, said early on he was having conversations with former President Trump about this. And then, of course, after the text of the bill is released on Sunday night, not even like a half hour after it's out, we saw Republicans, this 370-piece page of legislation, say that they weren't going to support this.
They're not going to support this because it's stupid. Let me just pull back the numbers. Okay, yeah, you get advice for Donald Trump, but let's, you have Republicans in office that's looking at these numbers. Most Republicans are against the money for Ukraine. It's 100, they're calling it a Senate bipartisan border bill. It's not a fucking border bill. This is a Ukraine bill. Excuse my language. This is a Ukraine bill. When you have the majority of the money going to Ukraine, that the bill should be called Ukraine bill. Half of the money is going to Ukraine. You have a small piece, not even a fourth, a third of the money. Well, I don't know. Harder to claim asylum in the U.S. I think that's the other monies that they didn't put on there. They probably don't want to piss people off. They're trying to give money to illegals for lawyer fees. They didn't put that on there, but that's in this bill. Why do I want to pay for their lawyers to get over here if they can't claim asylum? Why would I want to do that? Why would you want to spend taxpayers' money on lawyer fees because they can't claim asylum? That's not our problem. They ventured out. When you move somewhere, it's your responsibility to fund your own operation. So if you move to America, before you moved over here, you should have looked, okay, how much is it going to cost me to get me an immigration lawyer? How much is going to cost me to stay there? Blah, blah, blah. You can't go over to other countries and say, oh, I'm seeking asylum. And now you got to pay for my housing and lawyer fees. They're going to look at you crazy. No, you got to have that already in your budget because you decided to move. You decided to move. Anyway, Senate bipartisan Ukraine bill. That's what the bill should read because you got $60 billion going to Ukraine. You guys let me know in the chat. Let me know if I'm far reaching. You got money going to Ukraine. This is a problem. Border shuts down. I don't know why my screen is so dark, but border shuts down when apprehension reach 5,000 per day. No, it shouldn't be open to a certain amount. 5,000 a day. What is that? 365 days. You guys click quick with the multiplication. I think that's 2.5 million. No, 1.8 million. So you're still willing to accept 1.8 million people. We already have 10 million people that's over here. I was seeing the other day, and then we're not talking about Venezuelans or Mexico or whatever, Mexicans or anything like that. We're talking about terrorist organizations that are over here. I believe it was Candace Owens. She had a short video, and one of the guys, somebody was passing a guy on the road, and they was like, "Oh, why are you over here? Oh, you should know who I am." Come to find out, he's part of the Hezbollah terrorist group, and he's in America. He's in America. Let me see if I can find it. He's actually in America, and we're acting like nothing is going on. Let's see if I can find it. I think I literally just saw, I thought I saw it yesterday.
Facing a threat to Americans when people ask him, who are you? Where are you coming from?
If you are smart enough, you will know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're gonna know who I am.
Soon you're going to know who I am. Did that accent sound to you like a Mexican accent? It didn't sound like one to me. The internet sleuthed and tried to determine who exactly that person was because obviously it seems like he is threatening us. It is being speculated that that individual is Mavsum Samadov. Mavsum Samadov leads the Azerbaijan Islamic Party, and they have close ties to Hezbollah. So yes, it is being speculated that at this moment, terrorists, people that hate the United States, are being allowed over the border. And what they're going to do, well, maybe exact revenge. This is a migrant that is...
What do you say to that? And then people act as if Democrats are doing the wrong thing by, or not Democrats, but Republicans are doing the wrong thing by shutting this, they're calling the border bill, the Ukraine bill, down because it's a bad deal. Oh, you got to compromise. But why do we have to lose our soul for compromisation? Compromise means both party wins. If Americans are not winning, we're not winning it. This is not American First bill. This is like, oh, we're doing everything to be a charity case of foreign aid. We're not the United Nations. We're not. So we need to stop acting like we're United Nations. We're not. We're not those people. We're Americans. This is the United States of America. And we need to put Americans first. And it is so sickening to me that whoever drew up this bill thought it was okay. Like, where do you think this, and it's okay for you to tell the taxpayers to front this type of crap? So anyway, so Joe Biden's blaming Trump for killing this border bill because he's saying, oh, he wants to run that. He wants to use it as a political strategy. That's what he wants to run on. But Joe Biden, listen, Donald Trump has a lot to run on against you. And even if this border bill passed, it's still a bad deal. He still could run on that. He could still point out several things that your administration has done that was anti-American. In particular, the Ukraine war, how you're dealing with the Ukraine war, how you're dealing with Israel, how you're dealing with Palestinians. Like I said, when I was talking about Joe Biden last time, Joe Biden is walking around with a bag over his head and it's raining shit, and he's ignoring the problem. He's just ignoring it. Anyway, you guys, that's it for today. I've been online for forever. I really appreciate every single last one of you. Let me just share with you. I've reached on my other channel. We're up to 303 subscribers. So you guys give it a subscribe. I created this backup channel just for political commentary. I wanted to have like a backup channel just in case that other channel is compromised. Hopefully it will never be compromised again because they canceled my channel last year sometime. They didn't cancel it, but they put me in jail. So just to have another place where I could stream from. I also am on Rumble, Rumble. You can literally follow me on all platforms. It's Chawanne Burns. All platforms, I'm Chawanne Burns. It's nobody's name is like Chawanne Burns besides mine. So that if you want to find me on any platform, I'm on all platforms. So anyway, you guys, I really appreciate every single last one of you. Thank you for joining in. I'm going to be online at 1:30 tomorrow. We'll be talking about something, so I'm sending all my good to you, and I will talk to you tomorrow.